You have suffered in life. Every human being suffers in life. The ground we stand on is a battle between us, and a battle inevitably leads to suffering and to death. And if we do not take the time to change the ground we stand upon, we will eventually come to an end of a historical, never-ending suffering for our race. We will all die. The ground we all stand upon, which is killing our species, is the ground we have always stood upon. Look back through history, and you will find the same structure as we have in play today, and look how previous societies ended. If you wish to understand how ours will also end, it will end in chaos and the wanton destruction of most of us, perhaps all of us, given the level of missiles and atomic weapons we all have pointed at each other's heads. The ground we stand upon is, of course, knowledge. Knowledge comes from our past. In life, we are born as children, free as any other living creature, born into and from this universe, into this world. But as soon as we can walk, we are indoctrinated into our society's long-standing traditions. A religion perhaps, a feeling of belonging to a nation, patriotism, an allegiance to a flag, a belonging to a particular class structure or familial position in life, a belonging to a race. We are educated into our correspondingly divisive places, and so we grow and live in psychological divisions. We are all educated to finding a sense of security within our traditionally learned knowledge. We live predominantly with that which we know. This is the never-ending chatter of words and images, which are the vocal cords of experience, forever running through every human brain. This is the inner movement of each one of us, and this inner movement is what is killing us. This movement divides us, and division is the required ground for conflict. This movement is memory, and this movement is knowledge, funded from past experiences. Think about this scenario for a short time. A close friend hurts you in some way, betrays you, insults you. In the case of a partner, perhaps leaves you for someone else, or cheats on you. Or even take the scenario of someone close to your life dying, which is a natural event for all of life. What becomes of the human brain under such conditions? It suffers, does it not? It suffers psychologically, and this psychological suffering can totally paralyze a life. But what suffers internally at the loss of someone, at a betrayal, at a disappointment, at a hurt or an injury? The psychological suffering which continues following an undesired life event out with of one's control can destroy life for the suffering person and create a lasting chaos in life. But what suffers? If you say, I suffer, I will ask you right back, what is this I? Is psychological suffering related to memory? Is psychological suffering related to time? Is psychological suffering related to the mandated societal system of education we were all bequeathed to endure? What suffers within us is memory. Don't take my word for this. You have suffered in your life, and you will suffer in life. So use the opportunity not to sink into deeper darkness to the point where life has no meaning. Use suffering to end suffering. How does one use suffering to end suffering? When does the opportunity to understand anything in life appear? Surely with the appearance of that which needs understood. So unfortunately, in this world of learned experts, in this land of success and acquired knowledge, we are not educated to understand our own capacities, which are vast. The human brain's capacities are vast, yet we never use our latent underlying energies. We never awaken our own intelligence. We spend our lives listening to experts, and so we become lost in life. We become incapable, irresponsible, and unable. We have no ground of our own intelligent understanding of life to stand upon. We follow experts. Psychological suffering may be the only opportunity available to greatly deepen your understanding of life, as I can only come to observe anything on its observable manifestation, then the appearance of suffering in my life, if I do not escape from it, if I do not run away from it, if I do not take to the bottle or to drugs, if I can find in my heart the passion, the interest, to remain with my inward unwanted pain, silently watching, then I am perhaps for the first time in direct communication with the movement of that which I have called suffering within me. What is watching the suffering? Is it the suffering itself, or is the mind divided? Is there an observer to suffering which is not suffering? Thanks in part to education, thanks in part to tradition, we all carry a fabricated division within our minds, and this is the real crux of so many of our life issues. Divisions in life bring conflict. This is natural law. Look around and understand this. Wherever we find a life division between people, we find conflict and war. And we live in conflict psychologically because we carry this educated, unquestioned, internal psychological division, which is educated into all of us and which is totally untrue. The brain's movements are one, although the brain has divided its movements to meet the structure of a mandated education which we now employ to conceptually meet our lives. We look at our lives through our thinking, and so we change the universe which our senses naturally, clearly meet without such inner educated adjustment and colouring, without adding thought to what we perceive. And so psychological suffering has many facets. It is related to memory, related to education, and related to a habitually educated approach to viewing what we are psychologically as a divided observer to our own minds. We are no observer. We are the observed mind, and the observer is a part of what is being observed in totality. That which feels separate within us is a movement of thought, flowing among other constantly changing movements of thought. If you watch yourself inwardly, very carefully, if you can slow thinking down and watch diligently, you will be beginning to see the pattern of movement underlying thought, and you will inevitably come to see the truth of what you are watching. What you are seeing will not lie to you, and you will come to see that the thinker is the thought, meaning, of course, the sufferer is the suffering. What we see inside, as it were, psychologically, is a mirror reflection of what we are psychologically. We have been educated to believe that we have a mind. This is what need be questioned. We have a mind. We are the owner of a mind. We talk about my mind or my brain, and this is great misunderstanding. The brain you call yours is millions of years old in evolution. The mind you call yours is the automatic functioning, the computer-like programmed, educated engagement of a human brain. Outwith of all of this, there is no you. What you see is what you are. The difficulties we live with psychologically are all rooted in this educated deception. There is no thinker and thought. There is movement of thought, which includes a thinker, and this is all educated, concentrated memory in action. And a large part of this movement is carrying a centrally learned image of what you are, which is based on your past recorded experiences of what you have been. This is inner self. This is human ego. This is the cause of all human suffering. This image gets hurt, me. And now, thanks to education, thanks to the power of traditional living, we are incapable of ending our suffering. We rely on experts, and so we carry suffering throughout life. Or we take drugs, and we are forever lost. And our world naturally declines, for suffering, conflicted, divided, fearful people will build a likewise world. People hurting hurt other people. Our wars externally come from our greatly inner, complex and conflicted, non-understood lives. The release from all of this, if it is even possible, is in your understanding of your inner psychological nature. Does this sound a mountain too high to climb? Have you taken even one step? The path to understanding yourself is the path of awareness of yourself, moment by moment and choicelessly. Awareness from a position of absolute silence. Open your eyes and look, and keep looking until the sun arises upon your life, until complete understanding has come. If you can do this, you are the change this world so needs to see, and you are the only hope for a confused and suffering mankind.